It was past midnight at the Hyatt Regency Hotel lobby, and the darkness was setting in. More than 5 hours since 2 massive concrete skywalks came crashing down on hundreds of people at a tea dance.
We had to stop talking. My mother and I had to stop speaking because we were running out of oxygen.
Trapped in a tiny pocket of debris within that destruction, 11-year-old Dalton Grant had a fractured pelvis and broken ribs. In unbearable pain hours after the collapse, he hadn't lost consciousness.
I wish. Not a moment. Not 1 second.
With death closing in, a light was about to cut through the darkness.
We're told by the chief to see if we could find anybody alive underneath the first layer. And so we started going around the base next to the floor, hollering, and to see if we could get anybody to answer us.
Every once in a while, they would ask us to be still so they could listen. And they knelt down and they could hear this voice from underneath and knew or thought that it was a young child.
I heard the little boy yelling for help, and he wanted to get out.
And he began to talk to me. And he was telling me everything they were doing, you know, on the top. And he was trying to keep me calm. You know, him and my mother were.
And asked him his name and how old he was. And he told me he was 11 years old. And it struck me at the time because my own son is 11.
It's all right.
It was pretty bad down there.
Like you hear it a lot, but that guy is a real life hero, like real deal. Yeah, I owe my life to that guy. It might, you know, what he did kept my soul in check.
Around 2 a.m., rescuers broke into the cavity where Dalton and his mother were trapped.
I thought that the hole was going to come through right over me and they might hit me with the jackhammer.
It was interesting because they were both in the fetal position, tucked up like this. I think they were facing each other.
So Dr. Joe, he reached through and he introduced himself because he's a gentleman.
Dalton and his mom were survivors.
They reached down and they pulled me out through that little hole, put me on a gurney, said don't look up because it was messy. And everybody stopped what they were doing and the whole lobby started to applaud. I think because they had pulled out a little bit of life out of a whole lot of death. So, yeah, that's how they pulled us out.
Mark Williams survived the collapse, then nearly drowned. Now he was in for a third brush with death.
I understand the skywalks were made of some kind of concrete. I don't know. They jackhammered through there, and when they did, that jackhammer came down between my chest and my arm, and they pull it back out. And I'm yelling, hey, don't run that jackhammer anymore. Boom, 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 they come down through again. This time it comes between my legs. They pull it back out. Now I'm not just yelling, I'm cussing. I'm using cuss words that have never even been invented yet. The next one comes, and it goes under my right arm and between my body. So they've triangulated, they've got 3, and it's triangulated. And I'm thinking to myself, get ready, because the next one's coming right through the middle of your back. I just never thought I wasn't gonna live, and I never thought they weren't gonna get me out of there. I was just mad they weren't getting me out of there fast.
9 hours after the collapse at 4 a.m., Mark Williams was the last person found alive. His rescue frozen in time by Ray Wynn, the firefighter who pulled him out.
And he gave me this picture framed of me, and it says, sorry it took us so long to get you out.
It was now a recovery mission. Crews pulling body after body from the rubble. The death toll ultimately rising to 114. Among the dead, Newlyweds Karen and Eugene Jeter. Karen's teenaged son, Brent, got the call at work.
You know, later that morning, my dad called me and he said, you know, you need to go get your sister and you guys need to come home now. And so I did, picked her up, went home, and that's ultimately where we heard what had happened. So it's hard to believe 40 years later, it's still upsetting.
Children were grieving lost parents.
Yeah, I mean, I love singing my mom's praises because I think she was awesome and you know, a brilliant, you know, just had a brilliant mind, amazing sense of humor, and just ridiculously talented musician, and, you know.
Cliff Scurlock and his mom, Linda, share a talent for music. He was just 8 years old when she died. Cliff, previously a drummer with the Flaming Lips, now plays with a band in Wales.
I mean, for years I was, you know, wanted to make enough money to buy that building and demolish it and build a big, I don't know, flower bed or music venue or something there that would be positive.
Reverend Billy Graham, in town for an evangelical conference, visited survivors in the hospital. 216 people were hurt. Some still live with their injuries.
I don't remember anything for maybe the first 10 days or so.
Sally Firestone was the most severely injured survivor.
I'm a C4 quadriplegic, which means I have really no direct use of my arms or legs. Below my shoulders, I don't have feeling or movement.
Sally spent the years following the disaster on a mission to make buildings more accessible for people like her.
People with disabilities are still people, number one.
She did for the rest of her life walk with just a little bit of a limp.
Following the Skywalk's collapse, the music continued for Teresa Cuevas, who died at the age of 93 in 2013.
Tim, David, Nate, guitars, violin, right?
In the void she left behind, her granddaughters carry on her pioneering memory in music and in name.
My name is Teresa Cuevas. I go by Tess, and I am a vocalist and violinist in Maria the Mexican. I want people to remember the contribution she made to music, to female musicians, to mariachi music. She was really a trailblazer. She taught me so much about music, about life, about love.
My name is Maria Cuevas of Maria the Mexican.
I think most people would agree that she just had some magic about her.
Her granddaughters and their band still play her favorite song, Hema. It means gemstone, fitting for a woman, precious to her family.
And so now I have an 8-month-old daughter, and that is her name. Her name is Hema.
And so, a piece of Teresa Cuevas lives on.
What those guys, what those men and women did that night in terms of trying to save people isn't even covered by the word heroic.
These are lessons that we need to translate and take forward and help others, because this is the future. It took me 6 months, personally and professionally, to get a handle on this.
This touched the whole city of Kansas City. It wasn't about any individual. Kansas City took this personally.
And it turned out that Kansas Cityans all seemed to feel like they knew somebody.
From the shock of tragedy, a new emotion was about to surface.
The first is denial that the event has occurred. The second is anger.
We refuse to forget the injustice, the horror, and the inexcusable waste of human life.
Why did this happen? And who was responsible?